The speed limit for a blind intersection is A. 10 miles per hour, B. 15 miles per hour, C. 20 miles per hour, D. 25 miles per hour. The speed limit for a blind intersection is B. 15 miles per hour. A blind intersection describes an intersection that is not controlled by stop signs and you cannot see for 100 feet in either direction as you approach the intersection. It is important to slow down to a safe speed so that you're able to see any oncoming vehicles, pedestrians, or bicycles entering the intersection. Slow down to at least 15 miles per hour and come to a stop if necessary to make sure the way is clear and it is safe for you to proceed. What is a good minimum following distance? A. 1 second. B. 2 seconds. C. 3 seconds. D. 10 seconds. What is a good minimum following distance? C. 3 seconds. The following distance describes the gap between your car and the car in front of you. Under ideal driving conditions, a good minimum following distance to employ is the 3-second rule. Some may recommend a 2-second following distance. That means there is at least a 3-second gap between the front of your car and the rear of the car in front of you. In good conditions, this gives you enough space to adjust, maneuver, and react to potential hazards ahead. When can you drive in a lane with a red X above it? A. Only on weekends. B. Never. C. During rush hour. D. If you are driving a vehicle with at least 2 people in it. When can you drive in a lane with a red X above it? B. Never. Lane use control signals are types of traffic lights to control the flow and direction of traffic in specific lanes. These are common on highways with reversible lanes, toll booths, parking garages, and freeway entrance ramps. On freeways with reversible lanes, lane use signals are designed to help improve traffic during rush hour. When you are driving on a highway with lane use control lights, do not enter a lane with a red X. When a right turn on red is permitted, you must still A. Wait until the light is green. B. Come to a complete stop. C. Only turn if you have a green arrow. D. Keep moving without stopping. When a right turn on red is permitted, you must still B. Come to a complete stop. If there are no signs or traffic lights prohibiting it, you can make a right turn on a red light at many intersections. But first, you'll need to come to a complete stop at the limit line. Once you've stopped, you'll need to yield to any pedestrians, bicycles, and vehicles that have a green light. If the road is clear, you can complete your right turn. When parking headed downhill, it is best to A. Put your vehicle in reverse, but set the parking brake. B. Turn your wheels so your vehicle will roll towards the center of the road if the brakes fail. C. Put your vehicle in neutral and set the parking brake. D. Put your vehicle in park and set the parking brake. When parking headed downhill, it is best to D. Put your vehicle in park and set the parking brake. The first thing you should do when parking on any hill is to set your vehicle's transmission to park and engage the parking brake. Along with setting your transmission to park and setting the parking brake, you should also turn your wheels so that the car rolls towards the curb or the side of the road in the event that your brakes fail. Backing your vehicle is A. Always safe. B. Never dangerous. C. Sometimes dangerous. D. Always dangerous. Backing your vehicle is D. Always dangerous. Backing up a car is always a dangerous maneuver. When you drive in reverse, it is much harder to see what's behind you and it can be difficult to control your vehicle. For this reason, it is important to always reverse slowly and carefully, and to be constantly checking for hazards. You drive defensively when you A. Drive at the posted speed limit at all times. B. Only use your mirrors to check traffic behind you. C. Constantly scan for hazards. D. Keep your eyes fixed in one position. You drive defensively when you C. Constantly scan for hazards. A big part of defensive driving is constantly scanning the road ahead, behind, and around you for potential hazards. You need to be able to spot hazards early so that you have enough time to react and adjust in order to prevent them from becoming a problem. If a pedestrian is at a corner, but not in a crosswalk. A. You should honk at the pedestrian. B. You should speed up to get past them quickly. C. You do not need to stop. D. You must slow down and stop if they are crossing the street. If a pedestrian is at a corner, but not in a crosswalk. D. You must slow down and stop if they are crossing the street. When you are driving near pedestrians on the side of the road, you need to use caution, reduce your speed, and give them space. If a pedestrian is standing at the corner, but not in the crosswalk, you can safely assume that they are about to start crossing the street. In these situations, it is best to slow down and stop to allow the pedestrian to cross. If the pedestrian makes eye contact with you, it is an indication that they are about to start crossing. Allow them enough time to get across safely, and avoid pulling up too close to where they are crossing. A traffic signal with a flashing yellow arrow means that you should A. Slow down and proceed through the intersection. B. Come to a complete stop because the light will change to a red arrow. C. Make a protected left turn. D. Yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians before making a left turn. A traffic signal with a flashing yellow arrow means that you should D. Yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians before making a left turn. A flashing yellow arrow is another way that some traffic lights indicate that unprotected left turns can be completed. When you approach an intersection with a flashing yellow arrow and wish to make a left turn, you'll need to slow down and be prepared to stop and yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians crossing the street. When entering a street from an unpaved road, you should A. Only make a right turn. B. Turn onto the paved street as the other vehicles will yield to you. C. Yield to vehicles on the paved street. D. Yield to vehicles coming from your right. When entering a street from an unpaved road, you should C. Yield to vehicles on the paved street. When you are pulling back onto the road from an unpaved side street or driveway, the vehicles on the paved street have the right of way. Before you turn onto the street, check both ways for vehicles and yield to any cars that are approaching in either direction. Great job! Here are some of your next steps to getting your learner's permit or driver's license. Read and study the official driver handbook from your state DMV. Take more free practice tests at puedomanejar.com. Gather all your necessary forms and documents before you visit the DMV office. Before you know it, you'll be driving in your very own car all by yourself. puedomanejar.com. Free DMV practice tests and much more to help you pass your real exams. Visit us today.